This message is brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Venture X offers the premium benefits you expect, like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit for less than you expect. Elevate your earn with unlimited double miles on every purchase, bringing you one step closer to your next dream destination. Plus, enjoy access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is Talkin' Rock. Talkin' Rock. Your backstage pass to some of your favorite rock artists. Here's your host, Meltdown.
I thought we'd kick off the week with a podcast. What do you say? Zacky Vengeance or Zachary Baker, whichever you prefer, as he's got his new solo record dropping on April 3rd. We'll talk to him about that coming up in a few minutes. And then a couple of guys who are coming to the Talkin Lounge, one in March and one in April. Coming up on April 23rd, it's a drumming legend, Tommy Clufetos, who's actually from Detroit. So we'll talk to Tommy coming up second. And then Mike Krompass from the band The Fell was featuring Billy Sheehan. I mean, to see Billy Sheehan in a place like the Talkin Lounge, that's going to be awesome. I saw him there with the Winery Dogs a few years ago, and he is just so good. But Mike is a great guy. Was in the band Smash Mouth. He's from Canada, the whole thing. We'll wrap up the episode with him. But first, let's talk about Zacky Vengeance, Zacky V. This is the kind of guy he is. I DM him on Twitter or X, and he responds and says, sure, I'll talk to you about my new record. I did the same thing when the last record came out from Avenged Sevenfold in 2023. Such a good dude. The record's called Dark Horse, and like I said, comes out on April 3rd. There's a song out there right now called Lighthouse, and this is not typical of Avenged Sevenfold, so Zacky's kind of doing his own thing, and he was gracious enough to take about a half-hour time to talk with me. Don't forget about Avenged Sevenfold playing August 4th at Pine Knob. But let's get things rolling with Zacky V, Zachary Baker on Talkin' Rock. There he is. Zacky, how's things with you, man?
Everything's going pretty well. Staying busy. I'm at home for a little bit and getting ready to get back on the road this summer. And yeah, no complaints.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we'll talk about Avenged here coming up in a minute, but I was kind of surprised when I learned that you were doing this solo project, Dark Horse, coming out April 3rd. Did you just have to get some stuff off your chest? What's the deal with the solo record?
Yeah, man, it's something I never really anticipated doing because Avenged has always been, my baby since the day we started. And with this, we were home for 5 years before we got back out on the road in 2023. And I started just playing around on acoustic guitar and writing these songs with melodies and stuff. And I didn't really know what to do with it. And I knew it wasn't really the sort of stuff that I'd present for Avenged. But as I was writing this stuff, life was happening all around me. And it was just a really good way to get things off my chest, kind of tell my own story. At first, I was like, what do I do with these songs? Because they have more of a Western kind of country flair. I grew up listening to Hank Williams and Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and stuff, along with bands like Social Distortion, The Misfits, and, Guns N' Roses, Metallica. I listened to everything. But for some reason, it was just way easier for me to write these basic songs on an acoustic guitar and be able to sing them. I don't really have a heavy rock voice, kind of an interesting, unique sort of sound. And I never really even liked my voice. So I was like, well, maybe I could just write these songs and, sell them to people. And then I was like, I have no interest in giving away anything personal in regards to music, Yeah. So it's like, I'm going to put it, finish this up and see what happens. And then I started getting some support, from my bandmates and people that I trust. And I just, ended up making an album. No record labels, no anything. No producers. Did it all myself. And I thought it'd be, cool to share with the fans.
And this whole thing's going to be acoustic?
No, there's definitely a lot of instrumentation. Okay. So it's all over the place. There's clean guitars. There's electric guitars. There's banjos. There's fiddles, there's pedal steel, there's you name it, trumpets. It's all over the place. So there's every song's very different.
So did you pull a Wolfgang Van Halen and do everything by yourself, or did you get some musicians in?
I did about 95% of everything myself.
You can play. You can play banjo. I heard that's really hard.
Yeah, I was able to pick it up and get a pretty good feel for it. There's a couple things that I had to hire some musicians that are much better at, like a pedal steel or fiddle. Those are instruments that I've never touched. I had my brother help me with piano. He's a brilliant piano player. But beyond that, we have Brooks play drums on one track, which is the only track that actually has good drumming versus me. But for me, it wasn't. It was less about the instrumentation, and it was more about the simplicity and getting the story told.
Now, I've only heard the first song, Lighthouse, so far, but the line that stands out, and you probably talked about this, the stars used to guide me, don't guide me anymore. What does that line mean? Or are we supposed to maybe use it in our own life, or explain that line?
So I always want people to hear it and interpret it how they want to. That's something really special about music, because I listen to the lyrics and I feel like they were meant for me when a band really nails it. But in the literal sense, I was just going through a time in my life where, the people that you depend on the most, like relationship wise, it just felt cold. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't feel like I could be myself. I felt like I wasn't as happy as I wanted to be in like my life, the path of it, not in regards to the band, not in regards to anything, but just my home and my personal life. It was just, I felt that I was just surrounded by the wrong person. And that line kind of came to be because of that reason. And because, when you're with somebody for a long time and, you kind of follow that guidance and you go towards that direction, and then you realize like, this isn't really the direction I want to be going with life and in regards to, my happiness and well-being. And it just kind of a literal life change sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I saw that you posted recently or something. I don't know, you had a picture with your girlfriend or something. Was she kind of the one who you bounced some of this material off of when you were working on it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely got really important feedback and kind of the affirmation that I needed to finish these songs and release them, having a person that you trust and trust their opinion and actually feels involved and cares about what you're doing. And I felt like I didn't have that for a long time. Not even just relationship wise, even in regards to the music, I would show people in the very early phases and they'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like, when are you going to write the next Hail to the King? And it's like, well, you don't understand. Like, those songs get written in a completely different way. And this is something more personal. And I thought that in regards to, being an artist and creating and sharing, I thought it was important. But a lot of people are just like, oh, it's weird for someone in a rock band to kind of go in a different direction. So, good luck with that. And I was like, well, I don't really have any ambition. Like, I'm not trying to, start this, country career and move to Nashville and throw on a hat and boots. Like, it's not about that. It's about just writing songs that mean something to me and letting them come to life. That's really all an artist is supposed to do.
Well, every time somebody, and I've been in this business a long time, and every time somebody branches away from their band and do something kind of solo, I always feel like it's like your band has been so successful. It's kind of afforded you the chance to kind of just go do something on your own and then come back to your band.
Well, for me, it's like I said, it's always been Avenged first. And I've never, I've publicly stated there is no other musical opportunity that I would ever leave Avenged for. Not if the biggest band in the world came calling and said, hey, we need a left-handed guitarist and you're the right guy for the job. I would say, you got the wrong guy, because I've dedicated the entirety of my life to Avenged because those guys are my best friends and continue to be. And I think what we do is so interesting and exciting that I would never want to put any sort of, taint that legacy, because we're building it and we build it together, which is so great. So for this particular outlet of making music, it was absolutely afforded, the opportunity for fans to give it a chance versus artists that have to start out from nothing. Mm. But with that said, it still requires a lot of trust, and you have to put a lot of effort and let them know that it's genuine and it comes from a genuine place. Because fans, especially our fans, it's the one thing is they can sniff out, authenticity when it comes to artists. And I feel like the response that I've gotten has really solidified the fact that, okay, this might be taken seriously. Like, Zach's not just doing this as a vanity project. He's actually has something to say and he's willing to put it out on the line. But in no way it takes away from Avenged. Like,
right.
It's always Avenged first.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's like, so when you start to create these songs and put them together, do you talk to Shadows or any of the guys and talk to them about that? And what kind of advice or what kind of, did they prompt you to keep going?
So I never really showed anybody in my band any of these songs until it was finished. Mm. And when I finally showed them, Sin called me and he was like, if you're going to do this, like, I want you to really go out and give it everything that you have, because I think it's important and I think it deserves to be heard, but I don't want you to just let it get released and then feel insecure and put it out there and let it fall into a void. Like, I really love what you're doing. And I think that you need to believe in yourself, because before I didn't have a game plan. If they asked, like, what are you going to do with it? I was like, I don't know. They're like, no, you need to put everything into it. So that kind of, and I got that same, when Johnny had heard it, he said it literally made him cry. Mm. So I took all Matt had the same sort of, advice, if you're going to do this, like, allow your full artistic spirit to take over and do it right. Mm-hmm. And I did. Like, I went and I really made sure that the art behind it was important, that the photos that I was releasing were important. All the things that typically you kind of get a helping hand with from record labels that Avenged has kind of shied away from in the last many years and opted to do a lot of it ourselves. And because I do so much of that with Avenged, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to invest some of my own money and resources and really put it out there in a way that it deserves to be shown, not just the music, the artwork, the photos that go along with it, the way that it's promoted, and also just things that I typically wouldn't do. Like, I've always been really, really private and I don't really engage in social media that much, but I was like, hey, this time around, I think I'm going to have more fun with it and be more engaging with fans, and give them a little bit of more of a glimpse into me personally, whether it's humor, whether it's stuff that I'm dealing with, and kind of just involve people more in my life. I just felt like that was the right time and something that was kind of a little bit different for me to do, stepping outside my comfort zone.
Now, myself, just having, different projects and stuff like that, how hard is it to put 100% of what you do into this project, knowing that you still have Avenged Sevenfold and you're still kind of doing that kind of stuff? Was it something that you kind of had to just kind of, walk your way through?
I believe it was made possible by the fact that we've had a lot of time off and time in between the Avenged stuff. So it gave me a chance to keep myself busy, which is something I really needed, because for a long time I didn't know what to do. We're home for so long. And, once we got the Avenged ship sailing again, playing those shows, rehearsing, practicing the songs at home takes so much of my time, and I love it. It's fun. Sometimes it gets frustrating to have to relearn some of the songs that we wrote when we were 25 years old, because we're much older now and that shit's hard to play. But beyond that, it was like I would be working fully on the Avenged stuff, putting all my effort into that. And then when inspiration struck on the times where I had a lot of free time, it was never for this particular solo venture. I never, ever forced myself to go into the studio and try and come up with music or try and write songs. It was always, if I had an idea for a lyric or a melody or was messing around on a guitar, and played something that I liked or put together some chords that I thought would be good, I would take that and instantly run with it into the studio and then record. So it was never like, okay, I have to come up with a song or I have to finish this song. It was like, I'm going to come up with the idea. I would take it with me to the gym, even if it was a voice memo on my phone, and I would listen to it over and over again and see where I could take the next part. And then if I came up with something, I'd sing it in my head until I ran into the studio and laid it down. So yeah, it just really came about naturally.
And who decided not to use Zacky Vengeance? Did somebody talk you into that, or was that something you've always wanted to do?
No, I never thought of it, but I thought, like, I'd never put any thought into I never put any thought into doing a solo project ever. I'd always assumed that if for whatever reason I wanted to write different styles of music, it would be like more punk rock sort of stuff, the stuff that I grew up with. And I kind of thought that was so typical and people would expect that from me. Whereas this is such an unexpected turn. And because the songs ended up being so personal, that I wanted it to be my birth name, the name that I was born with, because it tells the story of me behind the guy behind Zacky Vengeance and the guy behind, Avenged Sevenfold. And it's just opening up as a human, as opposed to like where people see us on the stage, we've built it. And some people are finding out about us now and seeing us play in stadiums. Well, this is where that guy came from. This is me growing up. This is the stuff that I have dealt with. This is the stuff that I deal with now. And I just wanted people to kind of have the opportunity to find me relatable, to give kids that are coming up inspiration, and to know that this was, it was a rough road to get to where we are, and it doesn't get easier. Life is always happening around you. And I wanted it to be completely from the heart and personal. And it's why I chose to sing the songs myself and do everything myself. Cause I was like, okay, this is me, the man behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain sort of thing.
Yeah. And so this is kind of a hack question. You've probably heard this before, but when you're writing stuff like this, how much of it do you go, no, I got to hold that off for Avenged, I'm going to use this just for my solo stuff? You've probably heard this question a bunch, but was there stuff that you wrote, you're like, oh no, Shadows would love to this riff, or or Sin or whatever?
There's absolutely those moments where I'm writing something and I will get sidetracked, and all of a sudden it'll turn into something that goes from being on an acoustic guitar to playing it into a riff, and then setting down the guitar, plugging in the electric, playing it, and all of a sudden, taking a note of that, which is the best part about surrounding yourself with instruments and all sorts of instruments, because you can absolutely write music you're just trying to write the best song that you can, and not even in a particular style. And there's certain things that just don't work for the solo stuff that, I'm absolutely excited about to show people for Avenged. So it's put a guitar in my hand and I'll make some noise. Wherever it ends up is fine by me.
So Dark Horse comes out on April 3rd. Some of the songs, obviously Dark Horse, Misfit Hearts, Unlikely Cowboy, I'll Stop Pretending, of course, Lighthouse, like you said, Star-Crossed, Someday Fireflies. And looking forward to digging into this. What's something you think is going to come right to the surface for fans when they hear this as like a whole collective?
I think that's a great question. I think that I think there's going to be some surprises, to be honest. I always grew up loving like 1950s doo-wop style music. And so I kind of threw in a nod to that at times. I love outlaw Western, just kind of punk rock feeling, Social Distortion style, rockabilly-esque songs. And there's definitely some of that. Like in Misfit Hearts, it kind of comes out of the title track and goes straight into some kind of Western kind of chaos, kind of 50s, 1940s, 50s inspired, true Western music. So I mean, I don't know. It's really all over the place. I think the song Dark Horse itself probably lends itself to setting the tone for what the album is. And then from there, it's just a wild ride. Typical fashion of me.
And that's why you chose that as the title track and the lead-off track as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, funny enough, I had no idea that George Harrison from the Beatles had an album called Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of weird, just because I've never planned, like I said, I'd never planned to venture off. Like this wasn't done as, this is honestly just to put out for people to hear. It was never intended to be like a hope for some level of success or anything. It was like, I just got to put it out in the universe. Because when you make art and you make music, the one thing that you realize, and I learned this when Avenged was doing Nightmare, was that when Jimmy had died, he had music. And we finished that album. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, not just because of us, it's because of I truly love the songs. And if had it been any other band, I would love that album. So I'm so proud of it. And you realize like we don't get to be here. Like our time here is short. And when you create something that lasts longer than you have to put out in the universe. And then you feel relief. I was like, okay, now that this album is done, if I died tomorrow, this album lives on. Zachary Baker, this album, Dark Horse, tells a story of my life up till this point, and it gets to live on forever. And that's kind of the coolest thing ever when it comes to writing music.
Yeah, especially with all the legends we've seen leave us. I mean, it's going to take a long time before people forget about Ozzy. Stuff totally. Like that,
Completely. Yeah. And you never really will, because like I named my son Ozzy. Like,
did you really? I didn't know that.
My 6-year-old's named Ozzy. He's spelled Ozzy. And it was just because honestly, my dad would play Black Sabbath when I was a kid growing up. And we had a moment where we were playing a festival with Black Sabbath several years ago. And, I think it was in Austria. And me and my dad were both out there. Like I flew my dad out and we went and we're sitting there, dad and son watching Black Sabbath together in a freaking faraway country. And then a couple of years later, naming his grandson Ozzy, my own son. So those legends, they put it out there, they make music, and you never know how it's going to touch people and affect people.
Yeah, that's a great story. I didn't know that. That's cool that you can share that kind of stuff with people. I grew up in the boondocks, and I would go hang out with the older kids. I was like 13, 14. These kids were like 18, 19, 20. And that's where I learned to love Black Sabbath. That's where I heard about it. And, and all those guys most of those guys are still around. And now like, they're kind of envious of me because I've had a chance to meet all these guys and play all these guys for all these years, So.
Oh, of course. And that's what's so cool about it. I mean, just you get a bond with other people over these these artists' music, and then when you're lucky enough to actually get a chance to meet them in the flesh, like when we did Ozfest, and you'd see Ozzy, walking up there, getting on stage every single night, and it was like, we rode on a bullet train in Tokyo to Osaka. And the train car was just us and Ozzy and his entourage. And like, I didn't bother him or anything, but like, instantly I'd go back and tell my dad, like, dude, we just rode on a train in Japan with Ozzy.
That's so cool.
It's just amazing,
That is great. Did you guys have a chance to play the Back to the Beginning show, or did you have a chance to go or anything?
None of us ended up going. I have some friends that actually went. but I don't know what our schedule was like, or if it was ever even offered, to be honest. I know that I wasn't able to go just based off timing wise, but I had some friends that did go. But you better believe that I watched that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, from the beginning to end, and seeing all the bands and all the tributes. And then when Black Sabbath came out, it was just like, it's just iconic and legendary. And for that guy to do what he did, and then, pass shortly after, but do it all the way up until that point, it shows you how sincere these artists are and how much it means to them, because it's not something you ever want to think about retiring from.
Right.
If you love doing it, and the artists that last the longest are the ones that love doing it. And there's times in your career where it feels like a job and you need to take a step back and go back to your 15-year-old self, your 14-year-old self. Like, why did I do this? Why, like, what makes me love this? And you're like, oh, it's because I love doing this. I love making noise. I love writing songs. I love pissing people off. I love playing concerts. I love it. Like, and that's what the Zachary Baker thing, it was like, this is coming from, what do you love doing? I was like, well, when I was in high school and I was 14 years old, I loved singing and playing guitar and playing in small clubs. It was like, I couldn't wait to do it. I couldn't wait to have band practice and rehearsals. And at 44 years old, the thought of getting in a room with musicians other than my Avenged bandmates, that everything feels so normal and natural because we've done so many shows, thousands of shows together over the years. This absolutely terrifies me. And it makes me feel like I'm going, in front of a talent show like I was 14 years old. And it's absolutely exhilarating, to be honest. I'm still like just trying to get the guts together to go stand on the stage and go play in front of 10 or 50 people. Like,
well,
and that's what.
Are you going to tour on this at all?
I'm definitely planning to bring it to life and play some shows.
Okay.
Whether that's in bars and, just for fun, in a few cities, or if I do end up taking it, for a small run or opening up for some bands that I really love listening to, I really I want to be able to play it live on a whim. I want to be able to have musicians nearby that can, grab a drink, jump up on stage and make noise and have fun. That's all it is for me. Like Avenged is a big production, but when we're up there, we have an absolute blast. And for this, it's going to be going back to the basics, setting up your own gear, walking up there, having interaction with the fans that are directly in front of you, and just making noise, the same way that Avenged started out, like just back to the roots.
So speaking of Avenged, of course, you're going to be here in Detroit at Pine Knob on August 4th. The last record came on 2023, which I absolutely loved. What's going on with the Avenged camp right now that you can share with us?
So we're just getting ready to start putting together some set lists and some announcements that I can't really talk about, but we definitely have some things in the works in regards to getting this tour up and running, making it exciting, doing stuff that is kind of in typical Avenged fashion, stuff that people don't expect. And then putting together set lists and making some more touring announcements, and basically going through putting in a lot of work to make sure that we open up some new songs, play some stuff people haven't heard, maybe have never heard, maybe haven't heard in a while. Just really listening to our fans also. Like, we don't want to be one of those bands that just goes up there and just plays the hits and we want to go and make every concert an experience. And I think there's some rock bands that do a really good job of that. And we're just really working on making it the best experience. There's no phoning it in, it's not just a cut and paste repeat of the last tour. It's got to be special. So when you see this particular show, it's going to be one that says, hopefully 10, 20 years down the line, like, hey, did you see that tour? Because if you didn't see that tour, you will not see that tour again. And that's kind of something that we've always wanted to sort of bring to the table. And we're just working on that, We're just not going to bring the same show twice.
And are you guys have you guys been in the studio working on any new material or anything, or no?
We're always writing and always trying to come up with the next idea that's gonna completely just divide the entire fan base and send Reddit and the comment sections of Instagram on fire. So we're well on our way to doing that. And I would say we are absolutely on that program right now.
I told you it's no secret. I loved the last record because it was so different and unique, and there were so many flavors. And I guess because I'm in this business and I hear so much stuff all the time, and maybe you're the same way. I thought it was refreshing, in that aspect. There was just something that it was like something you heard something different every single time. That was just my 2 cents on that,
Well, that's the thing about music and the bands that we love, and what people don't understand is what they're not prepared for can be shocking. But later down the road, you realize, oh, that's just what that band did. And it takes years sometimes for people to come around to certain things. And the reason that we know it is because we've been fortunate to have this long of a career, and people are like, well, City of Evil's the best album. People are like, no, the Self-Titled is the best album, or, The Stage is the best album. And it's like, at the time, I'm just sitting there scratching my head and like, well, when City of Evil came out, everyone hated it too. They're like, what are you guys doing? These songs are too long. You can't mix metal and punk rock and Guns N' Roses style rock and roll. And you guys have solos and dueling guitars like Iron Maiden. Like, what are you guys doing? You're so messed. Like, at the time, with every album, people are so divided, and it's always been that way. And then later down the road, it's like, that's my favorite album. That's my favorite album. So you kind of just write what you write, and you leave it up to people to love it, hate it, catch up to it later down the road. But you always do it from the heart. You give it the best effort that you can possibly put into it. You record it exactly how you want it to be heard. You make the lyrics exactly what you want them to be. There's no phoning it in. We throw away 98% of everything that we write and purposely save exactly what we want to release. And for us, it's whether people like us or hate us, it's always what we believe, quality over quantity. Because there's bands that just write songs and they have a good formula, and then they just keep writing songs that sound like the same song in hopes that another one will hit. And before you know it, they have a bunch of songs that are very much their sound, but they never step outside the box. And for a person like me, that's when I get bored and look for the next artist that's trying to do something creative or keep me on my toes. Those are the ones that I go back to listening to for my whole life.
Yeah, just as you're talking about, they only got a couple minutes left here in this thing, but man, the Metallica boys, you nailed a lot of the stuff that they do, and you guys toured with them, obviously, and it's like you must have learned so much from a band like that.
We learned a ton, and it was because we're such big fans, and we learned how they treat their fans, which is how a band should treat their fans. They really care about their fans, and they put everything into their shows. They give it their best performance. They put a lot of work into it. They change set lists. They do exciting things. And honestly, and this is going to be controversial, but we were touring in a van, and we were driving across the country playing small shows. And it was right at the time when Saint Anger came out. And that was the most divisive Metallica album since Load and since Reload and since the Black Album. And
probably still is, yeah.
And you look back and you're like, people were like, what are they doing with the Black Album? What are they doing with Load? Like, where are these guys at? And then with Saint Anger, it was like, what are they doing? Like, it was the craziest sounding. And then we fell in love with it. It might not be our favorite Metallica album, but the thought behind it and the fact that it was so different and it had to be listened to, and they were just going for this thrashy raw sound using tones that weren't perfect studio modern day drum samples, which they're fully able to accomplish if they want. They can do whatever they want. They chose to go and just make this buck wild album. And it was like, if Metallica can do that, then we can do that. And by the way, when you say
Now we love it. We might be just you, but
I think we love the concept of it. I think we love the concept. It's still taking me a little bit longer to get into Lulu, but
oh my God, I've never even finished that record.
But I love Lou Reed, so I know that those guys, knowing that those guys are inspired by off the wall artists, kind of caught me for a loop, because they are such the epitome of a metal band.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whoa, they stepped that far out of the box. It's like, oh, these guys just love music. These guys are just fans of music. And that's probably why they're so good at what they do, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. No, they're the best. And obviously we saw you guys, on that tour and that. But I'll tell you what, I'll see you here August 4th with Avenged. April 3rd, the new record drops called Dark Horse. And good luck with everything. And Zach, thanks so much for the time, man. You're always great about giving me a few minutes, and I appreciate that.
Of course. I really do appreciate the time as well. Can't wait to get out there.
Up next, Tommy Clufetos, a Detroit drumming legend. He's played with the likes of Alice Cooper and Nugent, Rob Zombie, and, of course, those Sabbath shows. He did 180 shows with Black Sabbath as they wound down their career. He was also at the Back to the Beginning concert, playing that final set of Ozzy's solo material. And then he was just at the Brit Awards, where him and Zach and Adam Wakefield, Robert Trujillo, and Robbie Williams, this UK pop singer, they did a tribute to Ozzy as well with No More Tears. What an awesome tribute that was, too. But anyways, Tommy was nice enough to take some time to talk about that and much, much more, including his gig coming up with Tommy's Rocktrip to the Talkin Lounge in April.
I thought we were started. I'm always started.
You're always on fire. There's no question about it. We were just... now we're starting officially, but we're just you would never go on a cruise, eh? Is that right?
Hell no. If it goes bad, if a cruise goes bad, it can be great for you rock fans. But if it goes bad, I ain't down with it. I want out of there. Like I said to you 2 minutes ago, Meltdown.
Yeah.
If it pays me a lot of money, it will calm my fears. Everything will ease on out. The rough seas will be okay.
I'll tell you what, I've been on the first night I ever spent on a cruise. It was like 40-mile-an-hour winds outside, and that boat was steady as a rock. It didn't even move. Like, it was unbelievable how steady it was.
Really? Oh, gosh, I'm not into it. And I can't swim, being from Detroit. You wouldn't ever know. But I can't even swim. My wife and my daughter laugh at me, so I'm not a water dude or a sports guy or anything, but I do play Detroit rock and roll.
That's right. You are coming to town on April 23rd.
Hey, we should do a duo here, man. We should do a duo.
Yeah, I know. April 23rd at the Talkin Lounge. You've been there before. You played with Dead Daisies there before. You've done a bunch of shows.
I played there. It's an old home at this point. I can't wait to come back April 23rd to the Talkin Lounge. The checkered floor. You still smell that beer. You still smell the remnants of when people used to smoke indoors. Oh, I love it. They should make a candle out of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man. You could make some money off that one.
Yeah, the Talkin smoke candle.
The smoking token candle.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
We'll talk to John about that.
I was just going to say, we got to get a hold of John and see what he thinks about this idea. So you're doing some other shows coming up. What else you got going on?
Yeah, well, I got the April 23rd, which we're going to rock. We are going to destroy. I got some pent up rock and roll energy. We're going to I'm just going to burst. So I hope everybody in Detroit can come on out and support their hometown rock and roll drum daddy, Tommy Clufetos, and my band, Tommy's Rocktrip. That's the main reason I wanted to talk to you, because we want to get everybody who's never seen me in a small place in the Talkin Lounge, because I got my own group, Tommy's Rocktrip, like I said, and we're tight. We're rock and roll. It's me and three young guys, even though I play like I'm younger than they are. And we're just going to blow it up. I think it's going to be a rock and roll Brooks, Detroit leather wearing, jean wearing, black T-shirt, slick back hair, old school tattooed, smoking indoors crowd. That's who I want to see. You know, like when you buy a leather jacket and you go, ooh, I don't want that. It smells like smoke. That's a Detroit leather jacket, and that's the kind of music that we're going to bring back home.
Yeah, I saw you. Yeah, I saw you last September open up for a new outdoors.
Tell me what you thought. Tell me more about how it was awesome. What was awesome about it?
Well, first of all, I thought one of the more unusual things in your thing is that you're kind of like the leader of the band, even though you're behind the drums. You take the microphone and you do all the stuff. So
not kind of the leader.
Okay. I was being nice.
No, it is different. I think I've taken something that could be a negative, and somehow I've learned to control or front the band, as they say, from behind the drums. So I look back and I go, I'm not really a jazz drummer, but back in the day, jazz drummers did that. Whether it was a Gene Krupa or a Buddy Rich, they fronted. Somehow they were the leader of the band. And I kind of take that model and I do it in a rock and roll thing from behind rock and roll drums. And it really comes off because we're all out front. The drums are where they should be, finally, at the very front of the stage.
That's right.
And somehow I make this little rock and roll party experience come off. So I hope you can come see it for yourselves. It's in Westland. Who doesn't want to go to Westland on a Thursday?
That's right. There's
everybody.
80s, the 80s slice of 80s pizzas right around the corner. One more.
I can taste the grease.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll use it to slick back my hair.
So it's funny because like Lars will sometimes get from behind the drum kit and start talking to the crowd.
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff.
No, and he does a good job of it too. He's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's not really what I always envisioned. Like in the 70s, bands were always kind of in a line, and I kind of liked that, where there wasn't really necessarily a front man, a singer in front of the drums, but like Jimi Hendrix, everybody's in a line. Cream, everybody was in a straight line. So it's kind of that kind of thing going on. So it's cool.
No, it's great, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, you hit so hard. The band sounds great. And I can't say enough good things. It was awesome. Hey, let's talk about what you did a couple weeks ago. This Brit Awards thing. You want to talk about something that was really impressive? The video of that was fantastic. I talked about this on the radio. The flames and just paying tribute to Ozzy. Talk about that night.
Yeah. It was quite the production, now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we were the closer of the night. There were, with all these modern acts there, Harry Styles and blah, 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 blah. You see all the people that I don't know who the hell they are, but there's something from Instagram or something. Dua Lipa and Noel Gallagher from Oasis is right there, and you're having the dinner. And then we went and rocked at the very end of it with Robbie Williams, who's a huge star over there in Britain, like one of the biggest. He packed stadiums, and I thought he did a great job singing No More Tears, which is not an easy song to sing, or any Ozzy song to sing is very difficult. You can tell a difference when somebody else sings an Ozzy song, but I thought he did a wonderful job. And me, Zach Wilde played, who's always awesome, and Robert Trujillo from Metallica, speaking of Metallica, played, and Adam from Ozzy's band, along with myself. So I thought we did a great job. I thought it sounded great. I thought I looked great, which is very important. And I thought we did a great job paying tribute to the greatest rock and roller of all time, Ozzy Osbourne, who I sincerely miss. And his presence was there, and Sharon was there, and Kelly was there, and everybody loves Ozzy, and we all will to the end of time. His music and his memory and his legacy will carry on. And I'll do so. We pay a tribute to him every night when we play one or two or more of his songs, and I think we do a wonderful job, and people definitely react.
Mm-hmm. And so, it's really cool that you are really connected with the Ozzy camp. After all these years.
Well, I was in his organization for 15 years.
Right. But, just growing up in Detroit, though, did you ever think that you would be so connected with the Ozzy camp? That's crazy to think.
In a strange idea, I did think, whether it was Ozzy or somebody else, I did envision whatever's happened in my life to happen, and I envision more to happen. Mm-hmm. I didn't get into drums to play at the corner bar. Even though I've played at the corner bar, I got no problem with it, but I had the biggest aspirations. I still do, and that's where my fire comes from, is I want. They say, well, you can't play in every band, and I go, why not?
Yeah.
Why can't you? Why can't you? I can do whatever I want, and wherever my talent leads me, I will follow. And that's what I've always done. And it's led to playing with Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper. But I always approached it the same when I was playing at home in Detroit, the same death grip of the drumsticks and going for it. That's where I got my craft. That's where I got to play for all these greats, is from playing in Detroit like it was the end, because it's always the end. And that's what I'm going to do at the Talkin Lounge. I'm going to play just like I was playing at the Brit Awards, like I'm on Everybody's Watching, because everybody always is watching. Just like when we listen to Meltdown, you hearken back to the old school radio DJs that were a personality, and you're out there, you're riding your motorcycle, you're meeting people. People love talking to you. You have a great personality. And sometimes I do interviews. These people are, the new school is like, come on, man. Do you know you're in the entertainment business? Right. And it's not about being a used car salesman, but it's about having a passion for what you do. And hopefully that passion ignites inside of you and you can't help but let it out. I can't help but let it out. When I get behind my drums and I do what I do, the Motor City, and playing gigs till 4 a.m. and lugging my gear in the snow and loading up the PA and bar owners screwing you on money and all these hard things and all these things that you secretly love come through the passion of what I do.
Yeah. No.
Was that an answer of how did you ever think you'd play for Ozzy?
You were definitely passionate. There's no question about that. So what is it like when you get the call? Did Sharon, what kind of advance notice did you have that you're going to be doing this Brit Awards? Did Sharon just call?
It was very quick. I hopped on a plane and I flew to England, in Manchester, England, and we played for 4 minutes at the end of the day, and I came home the next day.
You guys didn't rehearse?
We did a run through for the cameras the day before, once or twice, and that was it. Rehearse. What do you need? If you got it, you got it.
That's right.
But when everybody's a pro, you can just do that. You know what I mean? When everybody's the right piece of the puzzle, it's when you get the wrong piece of the puzzle that these three guys may have it together, but if this one guy doesn't, we got to run it 30 times. It becomes a drag. So it's a pleasure whenever I play with professionals such as Zach, Robert Trujillo, Adam, myself, and Robbie Williams. What a night. Sharon was out there. We went to a wonderful dinner the night before, and we all talked about Ozzy and all our admiration and our love for the family. And it was a nice special moment to do that thing, because it was a little calmer than being on the road kind of thing.
And it was so cool because I think I texted you last year when I was reading his book. Ozzy gave you mad props in his book. He really thought highly of you.
And I thought very highly of him. It was a mutual admiration, and I think he understood my respect that I showed him through the effort that I gave him. And I think, what else can you do as a musician? You know, ass kissing can go a long way in this business, but Ozzy knew what was going on. He was a very sharp, intelligent individual. Why else would he have me on drums for so long?
That's right. So what's going on with your other projects? Dead Daisies, what's happening with that?
Well, I don't know what's going on with them. I think they announced a gig in May where we'll be playing somewhere where I'm actually playing the day after the Talkin Lounge at the Arcada Theater, which is a great joint in St. Charles, Illinois, Arcada Theater, on the 24th. The Friday, April 24th, if anybody's out in the Chicago area, we're going to Midwest rock you there too. So I do a lot of recording here. I have a studio built out back where I play on people's tracks. I do a lot. That's starting to build up. If you want to get a hold of me, it's TommyKillerDrums@gmail.com. I'll play on your record. I do a lot of solo gigs all around the country, and that's starting to get built up. And just little things keep popping up, and I go for it. Wherever my thing goes, I go.
Yeah, and you're down there in Nashville, and we talked about this before, but, have you discovered, obviously the rock scene down there, you connected with people down there, you're getting on some other projects as well?
Listen, I am a rock scene, and I'm an old man at this point. I don't leave my bubble.
Really?
So it's hard to get me out of the house, because, do I really want to go hear another rock band? But I do. With the young guys in my group, I kind of stay connected to that because they're quite younger than me. And there is more of a rock. I'd say there's more of a rock scene here than there was in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. There's really a young 20 to 30 age of people. They get dressed up, they go out, they do their hair up, kind of like the 80s. You know what I mean? So, but that was really never my thing. I really never went out. Even when I was younger, I was always focused on plowing through. I wanted to play gigs, not go to gigs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like going to gigs. I want to do the gig. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, when I go see somebody, even if I've played in their band, I feel out of place. It doesn't feel right for me to be in somebody else's dressing room or hanging out. I feel comfortable on stage. I don't feel so comfortable off stage, which is kind of an odd thing because a lot of guys, they love that kind of stuff. And I do appreciate watching good musicians, but I would like to see something out of my genre, maybe like a blues thing or a great jazz thing. Something like that is kind of fun for me to go see. Well, I remember years back, my wife surprised me and she took me to see Chris Christopherson. And I was just like, yes, this I'm enjoying. It's him and his guitar, and the art of him, of what he does was refreshing to me.
No, he's great. Just like when he talked to Zach. Zach's all about yacht rock. So he's not listening to metal all day long, No.
I listen to a lot of old rock that I came up with, 50s and 60s, and Jerry Lee Lewis and Fats Domino and Little Richard and Chuck Berry and all these old blues guys like Elmore James and Jimmy Reed and all these kind of things. That's what I like. But that's the basis of rock and roll. So I steal from that and I secretly put it into what I do, and I dress it a different way. So people think it's heavy metal, but really it's just rock and roll from the earliest forms. And I think that's maybe why my drumming is different, especially right now. This music has become such a pyrotechnic thing with the Instagram and all this 45-second. It's like you can't even follow what's going. Yeah, it's great, but I'm coming from a different place. I'm coming of playing in music with bands and hopefully getting the audience involved, not musicians. My thing is to play for the people, not for musicians. That was a no-no where I came from. You're playing for the crowd. You want to grab that crowd, not just 10 geeks in the audience who play with a Kemper amplifier and no headstock guitar. That's nerds. This is rock and roll, baby.
Hey, speaking of drummers, have you, I don't know, did you grow up a Rush fan?
I wasn't. I appreciate Rush, but I wasn't a Rush guy. Okay. That wasn't my thing. But they do have a wonderful new female drummer who I've seen play with Jeff Beck. I'm sure she's going to do awesome.
Yeah, Annika Niles. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you even had any inkling about her.
Yeah, we have the same cymbal endorsement company. So I have met her and I saw her play, and she's a phenomenal drummer. And I'm sure they're just going to go sell out everywhere.
Yeah. Did you, I mean, obviously you could appreciate Neil growing up, right?
No, he absolutely. Like I said, I appreciate Rush. That wasn't my side of things.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That wasn't where I was coming from. And you know what I found out as I got older? They tell you, oh, you got to listen, you got to enjoy all types of music. You got to be so well-rounded. And the older I get, I go, why? Why can't you just like what you like? And that's okay too. And maybe do your thing. The older I've gotten, you can appreciate other things of music and you can partake, but that doesn't mean because somebody else is a big band that you have to love it. I'm not saying I don't appreciate it, but it doesn't get my guts like it gets somebody else's guts. You know what I mean? Yep. And they're not going to get off on the same music that I get off on. That's the cool thing. Yeah. So, yes, I absolutely appreciate them. They're a killer band. I did watch their documentary, and what a story. And I do have utmost respect for Neil's approach and his dedication and the way he spoke about his family and certain things like this that I definitely connect to that side, maybe more so than the actual. I like some of their older stuff where it was killer rock and stuff. I did like that.
Yeah.
So, yes.
To all the above.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to pass this along and tell people that when I saw you back in September, your dad was there, and I've never had an artist's father come up to me and go, "Oh, I've listened to you for years," which was really cool. But
that means you're old.
Well, we're both old, right? Exactly. But your dad, huge fan of yours. Tell me about the influence that your parents had in you growing up in Detroit.
To me, parents are everything. I have a little one who's not so little. She's 8 years old. And I hope that I am my daughter's hero, like my father is my hero. And I can pass that along and teach and mold and sculpt and And whatever that is, my parents were there. We came from nothing, and they taught me how to work hard and how to devote myself and to stay at it and to go, go, go. And that's the Detroit way, isn't it? That really is the Detroit way. Right. More than anywhere I've ever been. It's a real blue collar, black and white scene. And that's how I was raised. You know, my dad is my hero. He taught me more than anybody I've ever worked for. And we talk every day. He's gone through a lot of tough things with his health right now. And just seeing him finally bounce back after having some battles, he's a fighter. Detroiters are fighters. It's in the blood. It's in the Clufetos blood, and it's going to be in my kids' blood. So again, from I started playing in my dad's group in little clubs and doing little things around town. And everybody would tell me, you can't play that way. You can't do it that way. All the other musicians. But we would have long talks after every gig, and you do this and you don't listen to anybody. You listen, but you don't listen, if that makes sense. Yeah. You take what makes sense to you, and you got to hold on to that, because it can get confusing growing up. If you listen to everybody else, you're going to be like everybody else. The point of this music thing, or even life, is to do your thing. And if it connects with people, great. But you don't manipulate yourself or what your beliefs are. I'm getting a little heady here for riff rock, but that's kind of the rock and roll way. It's supposed to be free. It's supposed to be your way, and I'm going to do it my way. And we're going to see that April 23rd at the Talkin Lounge. You do it your way. You get on the radio and you're entertaining and you're vibrant and you capture people's attention, and we can tell that you're a fan of the music through your passion and your enthusiasm.
Well, thank you, man. That means a lot. You know, it's funny. It's like, growing up in Buffalo and then spending the last 30 years here, there is a certain grinding mentality to this town.
There is.
And, I don't know if people know this or not, but I woke up this morning to go play hockey, and it was 16 degrees, okay? It's,
oh, my God.
It's middle of March, and you have to be able to grind if you're in this kind of climate.
Well, you're from Buffalo, so that's nothing. You probably had shorts on. But I mean, Buffalo, there's maybe something about the cold or the brutal winters that you just push, baby.
Yeah.
All these other, like these young guys, these young people that I see, everybody seems like a wimp. Detroiters, or I don't know if they're different now, but I was raised to be tough. Thank God I was raised to be tough mentally. You have to have thick skin, and those things really lend itself to the music business, because it's a long, hard, pounding road, mentally, physically. It's a long road. You got to think of the long haul and what works best for you. And you just go out there and play your guts out, and whatever comes of that is really what your life as a musician is going to be. But you can watch other things. I grew up in Detroit, and I would watch all the musicians who didn't do it or did it for a minute. And I would go, well, I don't really want to end up in my mom's basement. Right. So maybe don't do A, B, and C. You can learn that way too, by other people's mistakes. And my parents taught me those things. They taught me core values and everything that I am, hopefully, should be from everybody's parents, good and bad. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that you're a lot like me, and that you're afraid of failure. I was afraid of failure.
Wow.
And here we are 36 years into this business because I didn't want to fail. So I push and I grind and I hustle.
Well, what is failure or what is success? There's times when you're riding higher than others, but I've never failed in my life because I've always given it everything I have. Whether you win, if you gave it all, of course you got to win. But if you did everything you could in your power and something doesn't work out in this political business that radio is and music is and sometimes life is, if you did everything you could and you gave it your best, it's easier to walk away with a full heart after that. But if you're a wimp and you can't handle the work and you don't give it everything you got and you don't get everything out of that, then you end up in your parents' basement and you're probably a dud because of it. But you're successful kids, young people, if you go kick ass to the maximum that you can. That's how I look at it. So every time my father taught me, every time you get up on that stage, it's a sacred thing. You put your game face on, doesn't matter how many people are out there. You go up there and you do it. You give the people something to walk away with. And hopefully that's how you build something, whether it's you're a builder, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a radio guy, whether you're a drummer, whether you're a baseball player. Every pitch should be thrown with the same intent or purpose. Doesn't always mean it's going to go in the same spot, but the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Well, I'll tell you what, April 23rd, like you said, Tommy's Rocktrip, we're going to see you there. And, man, I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome night of high-energy Detroit rock and roll.
I really hope you can come on out, Melvin.
I'll be there.
See the thing. I think you're going to really dig it. I'll buy you a beer.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I'll buy one, I said. One. Right. A beer. And get the hell out of there. Thank you, Meltdown. Thank you, Detroit. Thank you, Riff.
And to wrap things up, Mike Krompass from the band The Fell, of course, with Billy Sheehan. Man, just a great band. They're out there on tour. You know, I interviewed these guys, Billy and Mike, last year, and I'm like, are you guys going to hit the road and tour with any of this material? And here we are, as they're playing the Talkin Lounge as I record this coming Saturday, March 28th. They're currently on tour right now. It was great to catch up with Mike. Here's what it sounded like. And by the way, all these interviews you can watch at WRIF.com and on YouTube and wherever you watch guys like me talk to rock stars. All right, I promise we won't talk about Twisted Sister unless you want to.
Yeah, man, I'm all about it. Let's talk about Sebastian Bach in Twisted Sister.
I don't know if I'm allowed to. But anyways, that'd be kind of cool to get on that tour, like hop on, maybe a headlining gig right there, an opening gig, I should say, for the Twisted Sister tour.
That would be fun, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Sebastian Bach singing Twisted Sister. I'd be all about that.
Yeah, that's and for those that are wondering, I talked to Sebastian a few days ago, and I was told I could ask one question about it. I'm like, okay, not by him, by the way. I'll just put it out there. But what was the biggest tour you've ever done in your life?
Oh man, American Idol artists, really. I mean, because the fan base is silly. So I used to be the music director for David Archuleta, who is runner up in one of the American Idol things, and on the year that David Cook was on, and we were doing arena tours with Demi Lovato and playing Philippines for 500,000 people. So I think, tour wise, those were pretty big. I used to play with Nelly Furtado too. And we went out with acts like U2, which were, they're an incredible band. So yeah, those were probably the biggest, I guess, tours that I had been on, that level touring.
Yeah. I think I saw Smash Mouth open up for U2 once, but you weren't in the band then?
Not then, no. But we did some quite big shows with Smash Mouth, yeah.
Yeah. That was, I'm not a huge U2 fan, but it's one of those things where it's like you just got to go see them because you just have to go see them.
I was the same. Like, until you experience one of their shows, you don't really get it. And then when you see how they connect to an audience, it's pretty impressive.
Now, when was the last time that you yourself were on a stage playing music in front of people?
Recently, last year. And I tore my Achilles on stage at a concert. So there's a band in Canada that's quite well known called I Mother Earth.
Oh yeah.
And the singer Edwin from that has a solo project which I also produce and go out and play shows with. So I was jumping around on stage thinking I was 20, and I came down on my foot and my Achilles ruptured and I went down. I finished the set though, finished the song, almost passed out, but made it through, and then I couldn't walk for months.
Yeah. They're from London, correct?
I don't know where I Mother Earth's from. Like, Edwin lives down the street from me, so he's Oshawa, like Ontario.
Oshawa.
They're a Toronto band.
Yeah, you guys have the Oshawa 67s? Hockey team?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm so out of the loop with Canada because I lived in LA for 20 years. So, I only came back here 3 years ago. My wife dragged me back here, so... so I'm kind of out of the loop with the local sports teams, Mike.
And your wife is Canadian?
She's Canadian, yeah.
Yeah. I was telling the Triumph guys I drove through Toronto the Sunday before Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, and there's like 23 lanes of traffic, and it's 2 PM, and they're all backed up. I'm like, what is going on in Toronto?
It's worse than LA. It's like when I came back here, I couldn't believe how crazy it is here. It's nuts.
Yeah,
and it's so busy.
Yeah, and it's like I kind of joked, I was goofing on him. I'm like, now I know why you guys want to tour, because you just want to get out of Toronto.
Yeah.
But you guys are heading back out on tour March 28th at the Talkin. You got some shows to warm up. And as the first show on the 22nd in New York, is that going to be your guys' first show ever?
No, we did some shows way back in the day, but
okay.
It wasn't with the original singer. So it was like, 10 years-ish ago, and we had someone filling in for the original singer. So this is the first time going out with the band the way it's supposed to be, and we're super excited about that. Now we have, full albums worth plus of songs. We're going to go out there, and our set's going to be 90 minutes of like melt your face off rock. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, no, that's great. So are you in tow? Are you gonna have those EP albums too?
Yeah, the full length won't be. We will have the EP physical releases there, probably sold out the shows. The album full length album will come out this year at some point. It's all written. It's all mostly recorded and finished. Just some tweaks, but it's pretty much ready to go. And
how many songs are on that, or thereabouts?
Could be 14-ish. We're still weeding some things out, and we might swap some things out. We tend to write really fast, so by then we might have a couple more songs we might swap out or release a single. So we haven't decided quite yet, but soon we'll know.
Yeah, last time I talked to you was back in September, and Billy was on the line with us as well. And now that he's not here, let's talk about him. But no, seriously, what is it like to work with a guy like Billy? I mean, he's in 186 bands. What kind of ideas does he bring? What's his songwriting like? Stuff like that.
It's a good question. He is in a million bands, but thankfully the big ones, not thankfully for him, but for us, I think the timing's really good because this is his band, and I don't know if you've seen on social media lately, he's saying my new band, The Fell, because Mr. Big's now gone, taking a break. Winery Dogs taking a break. Pointer's back in Dream Theater. So there is time, and it's a really good time for us to finally, Toby's back in the picture. We've got a really great record, and we're really excited about going to make this a band, and it's not just a project. So when it started out, it was more like a project, even though all of us were contributing. It was more like a project, and Toby and I were doing the bulk of the writing and that kind of thing. And now it's really feeling like a band. Everyone's getting involved, and they're flying in to record. Sometimes Billy will send his bass tracks, but now, Toby's here every couple months, and we're getting knocking vocals out, and it's really great. Yeah, and I guess I was talking about this on the radio the other day. That first Diamond David Lee Roth record, they did a cover of Talus, and obviously Billy was a part of that, but that was way back in the day. You guys doing any cover songs? We might, yeah. We might do something cool from that era. Okay. No, won't say what it is yet. And I'm still learning the song, so hopefully I don't pooch it. Is that on stage, or is that for the record? We might do it for a record too. We have Billy and I have talked about throwing this one particular song that we're going to do in the set on a recording that might be released for a special compilations thing that we do with the Fell. But he's featuring it. Now, with you, producing and doing all this other stuff on the side, AI seems to be a big thing. It's funny because just yesterday somebody asked me to write a recommendation about them or whatever and the whole thing. So I did it. Then they sent it back to me. They said, "This is what AI," and switched. I never use AI. I think it's awful. But what in your world, what is it like? Look, as a musician, I hate it. As a musician, I hate it for, if I'm writing stuff and I use ChatGPT and I need or if I need to look up something really quick, it's great for that. If I don't want to hire a lawyer and I need a document reviewed, hell yeah, I'll do that. Right. But you know what? Here's the thing. It's not going to go away. And it's like when Pro Tools first came out, everyone was a diehard audiophile guy that was I only record on tape. I only record on ADAT. And the format's always switched. So then Pro Tools came out, everyone was against that. I think AI as a tool will be really beneficial as a tool. It's hey, I need to create a string part real quick for a demo, or I need to get for someone who can't sing, I need to get a vocal melody across to a singer that can sing. I think for that type of thing, it's a very useful tool. And I think for producers, it's very useful. It's when it's relied upon and when people use it to exchange for art that I have a problem with. It's like when you take the human element out of it and you just like, hey, I wrote a song, and they give you a song that's done by Suno, and it's like, here's the song, but it's not really written by them, and nobody put in chord changes, and Suno prompted the song. That's when I cringe. It's like there's guys that have come to me as a producer saying, reproduce my song, and they give me a song, and it's like, you did not write this. I know you didn't write this. It's like, you can tell by the lyrics, they use the same formatting of the lyrics, the same things, and those kind of things that like kind of irk me. But you know, as a producer, I have to get with it a little bit too. I can't be like the guy that's like granddad going, hey, you know that, yeah, I think, but you know, I don't love it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, and in your studio that you're in there right now, you use Pro Tools?
And Pro Tools, yeah. And then, but I got a big, sitting in front of me here. I'm sitting at my console. It's a big Heritage console, analog stuff. I'm, you know, all the cool stuff. So
what else are you working on right now besides the Fell?
So my wife and I, we own a record label that's distributed by Sony that the Fell is released under, but we have also a venture where we sub-publish the entire Sony ATV Extreme Music catalog in Canada exclusively. So that's everything from Hans Zimmer to Snoop Dogg and metal stuff and everything in between. So we license that out for film and TV. And then we grow our own roster of artists, and that can be in any style. So we'll develop and sign talent, and then we'll publish that out through Sony Music globally. So, you know, for artists that are aspiring artists that write great songs, that want their things in film and TV, it's a great resource for them. So, so we do that, and then I have like legacy bands like Honeymoon Suite, Canadian band on my label, and we're gonna do some stuff with Edwin. On our label, and then we have new modern things and young artists and developmental things too. So,
yeah, Honeymoon Suite from Niagara Falls, and that's one of the gigs you're playing at coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw Billy play with the original Talus in Niagara Falls. Like, I want to say it was around 2013, 2012, something like that. I can't recall, but it was awesome. It was a summer night, and they played outside the Hard Rock. And you know, growing up in Buffalo, you know, Dave Constantino recorded my demo tapes when I was just a kid in the late 80s to try to get a job on the radio. So do you know Dave? Do you know who that is?
I don't know Dave, no, but I've heard of Dave, yeah.
Yeah, so he's the singer of, you know, Talus back in the day. But anyways, just to see, because I was too young, I just kind of missed that era, you know, of Talus, because I was, I was just too young for that.
What an incredible band. I mean, incredible band.
Yeah. And then you must have grown up with like bands like Coney Hatch and Killer Dwarfs and all those bands.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All those bands. I love Killer Dwarfs, man. I love like Harem Scarum. Like,
yeah.
I mean, here's my guilty hairband pleasure is going to come out now. No, I loved all those bands. Coney Hatch is great. Andy Curran is, you know, I loved his solo stuff too. All those, you know, Canadian rock bands. I love them.
And
Kim Mitchell. You know.
Kim, yeah, of course. And I guess since we're on the topic, and you just brought up Andy and stuff, he's in a project with Alex. What do you think about Rush getting back together? I thought it surprised everybody. I wasn't expecting that.
I think it's incredible, and I think that
Annika Niles,
yeah, she's so good. She's so good. I mean, I was shocked to see that her in the band, but I've always been a big fan of her drumming.
And then the guys from Triumph get back together. I mean, this is what's going on in the water up there. Yeah,
I talked to Phil the other day, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming to Canada." I'm like in the doing Triumph reunion stuff. I'm like, "Oh, it's killer." It's like everyone's dying to play. So,
yeah, Phil and I share the same birthday, so.
So yesterday, day before, yeah. Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you weren't too far behind either, weren't you? In February or something?
February 8th, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do? Anything good?
No. Went out for dinner with my kids.
There you go. Yeah, that's good. So wrapping up things with the Fell here. So you're just going to tour. You got these gigs here. You're going to drop a full length later on. Are you guys looking to hop on a tour? What's going on for 2026 besides what's right here in the front of us? That
would be great. So we do have some European, UK festival dates that are going to be bigger shows towards the end of the year. If, you know, any opportunity for us to tour with a larger act and get out there and open up, that would be really great for us. I'd love to go out with a band like Mammoth. I was just saying in an interview earlier, like that's a great band that would be a good fit for us. Because, sometimes because Billy's in the band and some of the bands that, Toby and I have played with, you get lumped into this classic rock thing, right? It's like, but this band is more modern and it is more new, and it's sometimes people can't see past, oh, Billy's Mr. Big, so it must sound like Mr. Big. While it has those elements, it's still modern, so we would love to go out with a modern rock band, and it would be great if someone would be like, hey, I like those guys, let's go out and play together. So we're hoping that happens.
Yeah, you bring up Mammoth, and obviously, Wolfgang has that studio at his disposal anytime. But what do you think about a guy like that who does everything on the records? I mean, have you ever heard of something like that?
Yeah, it's not often. There's not a lot of guys that do that, and that's why I love him. I love him because he's an incredible singer. He's incredible talent. He plays drums amazingly. There's nothing he can't do. I'm a big fan of him. And
obviously, I'm sure you were a big fan of his dad's.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he has so much of his dad in him. Like, I know that he's his own guy and he's his own person, but he's got the EVH DNA, man. That's like what all of us wish we had. So, but he's an incredible talent. Like, I went to go see him in Toronto the other night. Like, he's so good.
Yeah, no, he is good, and you're right. He's his own guy, and he's got that battle to fight. It's like being Wayne Gretzky's kid.
Yeah, you better be damn good.
That's right.
But he is, though. Like, you see him, and I've seen him play his dad's songs just as good. Like, he's incredible, and people like rag on him on social media a lot. Like, that kid must deal with so much shit, but he's so good. He's so talented. And
it's weird, like that whole Van Halen thing is kind of strange. Like, Sammy and Michael are like the best friends ever. Alex and Wolfgang do their thing. Diamond Dave does whatever Diamond Dave does. It's like this whole dysfunctional family. I've never seen a band quite like it.
No, they need to go get a fucking tour together and just like.
Yeah, that would be something. All right, Mike, last thing here for you. The biggest challenge so far of the Fell. You've been in it for a little bit, and I know you did it before, but I'm talking about, like, since Billy joined the band and stuff. What kind of challenges do you face with the band?
I think it's because it's our own band. It's an indie band. We're not on a major label or anything. We're self-funding this essentially alongside my own label. I think the challenge is just getting it seen, like getting it out there and getting the right shows and getting picked up on radio. Those things are hard when you're a new band. Like, we don't have a radio plugger that's out there every day pounding the pavement trying to get our songs, and we don't have those kind of budgets at this stage in the game. But we're hoping it takes off and the songs speak for themselves, and slowly but surely people start catching on. And I guess that's the biggest challenge. Because it's not like we don't want to play. We want to get out there and play. So budgets, we'd like to see good budgets and be able to afford to go out and tour and those kind of things.
And plus with you and your wife and all the other side projects you just mentioned, it's like when you go out on tour, you're not only playing that night, whatever, but you're constantly probably working during the day, I'd imagine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, constantly.
Yeah. And keeping tabs on the U.S. gold medal hockey team or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, I'll leave you with that. It's the gold medal jab. But, Rick Emmett didn't want to talk about that. He was very upset about that. So
I'm not too upset.
I'm
not that upset.
Well, listen, March 28th at the Talkin. My friend John does a great job over there. I saw Billy there one time with the Winery Dogs. And right here in Detroit Rock City. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. Can't wait.
There you go. That's a non-award-winning episode if I ever heard one. Got to thank Mike, Tommy, and Zach for taking the time out to talk with me on Talkin' Rock. And like I mentioned, you can watch all these interviews at WRIF.com and on YouTube and whatnot if you want to see this sheer brilliance of these conversations or lack thereof, whichever you prefer. Hey, thanks so much for checking out the podcast, man. That's a lot of Talkin' Rock.
Thank you for listening to Talkin' Rock with Meltdown. You can help this podcast grow by giving it a 5-star rating and writing a review on Apple and iTunes. Plus, feel free to subscribe and share it with your friends. Until next time, thanks for listening to Talkin' Rock.